Broadcasting from the world-famous LWDL studios, this is Life with Dan and Lewis. I'm Dan.
And I'm Lewis.
And we're here to talk about life and all the wonderful, magical, horrible, awful, fantastic stuff inside that four-letter word.
Life.
Before we get too far in, if you hear anything you like today, feel free to go over to buymeacoffee.com/LWDL. Your support is greatly appreciated for this little adventure we are on. Hey, it's good to see you.
It's good to see you too.
What's going on with you?
Not too much. Just really enjoying life right now and trying to get back to being 100%.
Yeah.
But other than that, everything's going pretty good. Not bad.
Yeah.
What about yourself?
Yeah, kind of the same thing here. I got tickets to go to ACL, Austin City Limits.
Nice.
In October. Yeah, it's a pretty good lineup. Kendrick Lamar, Foo Fighters, Mumford & Sons, Odessa, the Lumineers, Shania Twain, Alanis Morissette.
Nice.
The 1975 and Hozier, along with a bunch of other bands underneath that. But those are sort of the headlining groups. So we're going weekend too, so we won't see Shania Twain, but we will see the 1975. So yeah, I'm excited. There's a lot of Foo Fighters, Mumford & Sons, Alanis Morissette. Yeah, there's a lot to be excited for.
Yeah, it sounds like a pretty good lineup.
Yeah.
They have some pretty good bands listed there.
Mm-hmm. And every time I go, I find some, there's tons of bands here. I don't know, another 30 or 40 that are, smaller bands. I always find a couple of those that I like then.
Yeah.
To follow after that.
I never been, but I sometimes on PBS, they'll have Austin City Limits on there. And I'll watch some of them. And I mean, even the local or small no-name bands, they're actually pretty damn good.
Yeah. So I'm excited about that. That was really my big excitement, this week.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
October. Well, hopefully, is it outdoor setting, indoor?
It's outdoor. It's a festival.
It should be pretty nice weather for it.
Hopefully, yeah. The couple times I've gone, it's usually pretty nice. There's one year it was very, very hot. But you deal with it.
Yeah.
Sunscreen, water.
Central Texas. I mean, what more can you ask for?
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty exciting.
Yeah. This is the place that we would normally tell you about our sponsors, but we don't have any. Maybe you can help us out. Life with Dan and Lewis is actively looking for new brands, podcasts, people, and companies to partner with. If you're interested, drop us a note at lifewithdanandlewis@gmail.com.
That's lifewithdanandlewis@gmail.com.
We'd like to hear from you. After all, we are doing this for your entertainment. Drop us a note and let us know where you're listening from. Or if you have ideas for new segments, things you'd like us to stop doing, do more of, less of, or anything at all, email us at lifewithdanandlewis@gmail.com.
That's lifewithdanandlewis@gmail.com.
So I was in a conversation with someone the other day and they were like, yeah, those are my soft skills. And I was like, okay, just played along. And I think like, okay, people talk about hard skills, they talk about soft skills, but I don't know if we've really defined, I don't know if everyone has a good understanding of what that means. So I thought we'd talk a little bit about the difference between hard skills and soft skills.
Let's do it.
So hard skills are technical skills that are learned through education or by doing something. And they're like concrete, measurable abilities to perform a job. Okay. So that's things like speaking a foreign language, knowing a certain coding language, knowing how to use a certain website developer product, it's very specific skills. Whereas soft skills are your people skills, your personality traits and abilities that you develop just by going through life. So that's things like communication, critical thinking, adaptability, creativity, problem solving, that kind of stuff. So it just got me thinking, I think on our resume, it's very easy to quantify, and in life in general, it's pretty easy to quantify our hard skills.
Yeah.
But it's less easy to give yourself credit for your soft skills and like to promote your soft skills. Like, how do you tell someone, yeah, I'm a really good communicator? You know what I mean? Like, it's not like a...
Yeah. Speaking from a resume perspective, like, you don't put that on there. Like, you don't go to a job interview and be like, yeah, I got excellent communication skills. Like, you're more...
I guess sometimes you do, like in the first paragraph of a resume, you sort of have like a summary or an objective, and you can sort of touch on your soft skills there, but we don't put nearly the same emphasis on soft skills as we do on hard skills.
Exactly. I think that, society as a whole try to promote themselves based off of their hard skills. Like, I went to college, or I
know how to do this very specific thing.
Yeah. I got a license to do this.
Exactly.
Or, and I think that, we portray that to potential employers, because that's what we think that they want to hear.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that sometimes soft skills can be more important than hard skills.
I think a lot of the time, yeah. And I think employers think that all they want are hard skills, but in reality, they want soft skills too. I think both sides discredit the soft skill side of a person.
Yeah. I have a friend who we went to college together. He didn't finish, but he got hired on with a major credit card corporation, and he just promoted himself mostly on the soft skills of life.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit on the hard skills of, like, he did.
He knew certain things that were unique in the company or whatever. Yeah.
And, wound up getting a job.
But so much of it is soft skills. People he knew, his communication skill, his ability to work well with others.
Yeah. So he got referred. He used to work at a bank. He got referred to by one of the customers at the bank. And then he got set up for the interview. And so the start of the interview was just like, oh, such and such told me so much about you. Like, you went to UTSA, you did this, and that. Tell me more about yourself. And he's just promoted himself based off of his soft skills.
Yeah. His dependability, his work ethic, his teamwork, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And ultimately, it started off as an interview. And then later on, it just moved to just the person interviewing him, just getting to know him on a one-on-one personal basis. So what should have been like a 15-minute interview wound up turning to 45 minutes, and they just talked about just life.
Right.
His life skills, his
wow.
What he likes to do and what he does in his downtime and stuff like that. And I think that some of it has to do with education.
Yeah.
When you're hiring or looking for somebody.
Sure.
But I mean, not everybody that you hire is going to have the education.
Sure.
Some people are just going to learn things just based off of life in general. Mm-hmm. And I think that that's not bad. Do you need everybody to have a PhD that you hire?
Right.
But sometimes people just pick up stuff along the way just because life teaches you different things. Mm-hmm. And I think that sometimes soft skills can outweigh hard skills.
Yeah, agreed. I was listening to an episode of Help with Natalie Cuomo. It's another podcast. We've featured some clips from her before on here. Mm-hmm. And she had another comedian, Nina Carufa, on. And Natalie often asks guests, or always asks guests, what's the best piece of advice you've ever gotten? And I thought Nina's was particularly interesting in this episode.
What would you say is the best advice you ever received?
I think the best advice I ever received was, this too shall pass.
Oh.
My best friend, when I was probably like in the 6th or 7th grade, her mom would always say that to her. She ended up getting it tattooed on her body. And she would always say, like, even if you're having a good time, remember this too shall pass as well. If you're having a bad, like, no matter what you're going through, like, appreciate the good moments, because the good moments pass. Don't harp too much on the bad moments. They pass. Any kind of struggle, any kind of anxiety. And I have really bad anxiety and panic and stuff like that. So I just try to remember that phrase, and it honestly calms me down.
That is nice.
Yeah, it's so cliche. It's like something you read at like a Hallmark, like on like a thing you hang up in your closet. But it really does help you calm down if you actually really think about it. And you're like, wow, this feeling is not going to last forever. This moment is not going to last forever. To just get through it.
I feel like it's kind of like saying to be present, but it's an easier way to get present in the moment. You know what I mean? If you're just remembering that it's gonna be okay, the moment's gonna pass. Even in a happy moment, I think that's an important point to make, to like enjoy the happy moments.
Yeah, I do think it's a good point. I think a lot of times we use that phrase, this too shall pass, when we're talking about negative things. But Natalie said it's almost a reminder to be present.
Yeah.
Even when good things are happening, this too shall pass.
Yeah. I mean, we don't want our good times to pass because we're enjoying it and we're living our high life and we're writing off of that. But I think it's important to keep in the back of your mind that even good times do pass.
Yeah.
And not necessarily, this too shall pass. I think when you have your highs, there's something that you can value from your highs that when you do have your lows, it can carry you through your lows until you get back to your high point.
Yeah.
It's like life is going to happen to each and every single last one of us, no matter what. We're going to have our good days. We're going to have our bad days. We're going to have our okay days. We're going to have our mellow days. But in the moment, I think that this quote can it should keep people humble. Because say like you buy a brand new house, eventually that brand new house is going to cost you money for repairs.
Sure.
And so remember the excitement that you had when you first bought the house. So that when you get to the repairs, you're just like, you know what? This is part of being a homeowner where I have to make repairs to my house. I'm not saying right away, but it could be like, 10, 15 years on the road. Same thing as buying a brand new car.
Yeah.
Over time, it breaks down. You have to repair it. But in everything, the highlights of your life, the low points of your life, just remember it too shall pass, and just stay humble about it. And
yeah, I think in addition to humble, it's also be present. Like take it in, absorb it.
Exactly.
Don't let it pass you by.
Yeah,
that kind of feeling too. And I think that's probably easier to do in the happier situations, like where you don't remain so present and you're not so aware that the situation is fleeting.
Correct.
I think in a negative situation, it's very easy to be very present and to be very in it and to be wishing it to be over quicker.
Yeah, you find a lot of people in their negative moments, like, you know what, like, okay, I'm in my negative moment right now, but it's not going to last always.
Right.
But you don't find that when people are happy.
Right.
You don't say that. You don't find people saying
right.
That,
so I think you can use that same, this too shall pass, that same phrase to de-emphasize the negative moments and emphasize the positive moments.
Correct.
You emphasize the temporary nature of the negative moment. This is going to be over. But you emphasize the enjoyment of the happy moment. This is going to be over.
Yeah.
So it's sort of the same mentality, just a different bent depending on the mood.
Yeah, and I guess it basically plays off of your attitude towards the situation, and how long you want that certain situation to last.
Yeah, but either way, just remember that it's fleeting.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah, and I think that if you keep that in the back of your mind, it'll keep you level.
Yeah. Hey, so even kind of crappy movies can have good lines in them, right?
Definitely.
So there's this movie that came out back in 2008 or 2009 called 2012.
Yeah,
and it's an end of the world movie. The world has an expiration date, and they're experiencing that expiration date. So Dr. Adrian Helmsley, played by Chiwetel Ejiofor, had a line in this movie, and you actually brought this up, and I do think there's some, maybe there's a little bit of something we can take from even stupid movies about the end of the world.
Yeah.
I read a quote 2 days ago. The author is probably dead by now, but he said the moment we stop fighting for each other, that's the moment that we lose our humanity.
Yeah, and I think this came up in a conversation you and I were having off the podcast a few weeks back, and it's come up on the podcast too, but it's the idea of respect. Correct. And how maybe when you boil so much of what we consider wrong in the world right now, it's like a lack of respect for each other. Exactly. Like down to like a baseline level of like a lack of respect for like a human. Like exactly. it's not even I don't respect this person because of their beliefs. I don't respect this person. It's beyond I don't respect this person because of their skin color or their religion. You know, that's we have an identifier for that. That's racism. That's, you know, anti-Semitism, whatever. This is like anti-humanism. Like there's like a very, very low baseline lack of respect.
Yeah, you don't look at the individual as a person.
Right.
You just look at them as this thing that's just taking up air and space, but you dehumanize them.
Right.
And they don't have that human figure to you. And, you know, when I first thought about this, I was just like, okay, well, what about like when I'm at a red light and the homeless person comes up? But it's not just that, because sometimes I don't give those people money because, I mean, sometimes it could just very much be a scam. But it's what we're talking about here is more than that, is when you don't respect the next person as an individual and as a human being. And it's when we stop fighting for the respect of the person that's beside us.
Yeah.
Is when we lose humanity as a whole.
Right. So it's like if you take the golden rule, you know, treat others how you want to be treated.
Mm-hmm.
And then you apply that to a situation that you're one step removed from. And if you're not doing anything about that situation and you're allowing that situation to continue to go on, then we're normalizing this. So I think the best example I can think of right now is, you know, how students don't respect teachers.
Yes.
And how that became like more and more okay.
Yes.
You know, so it happened the first time, and then all the other students saw that and didn't do anything. Mm-hmm. Then it happened the, you know, second through 400th time, and all the other students and teachers saw it and didn't do anything. So it snowballed into this problem, and it starts with this baseline idea of a lack of respect and a lack of caring for the next person as if they're also human.
And then, speaking of the students, now you have teachers who just don't care about the kids and are just doing the bare minimum just so that way they can pass state testing.
Right.
And pass their class and then get them out.
Right.
There's no more of when we were in school, our teachers generally showed that they cared about us and wanted us to succeed. Where now teachers are just like, okay, well, I have, 50 students in my class. So student number 26,
right.
I'm just doing the bare minimum so you can pass.
Right.
They don't.
And it's not even just the teacher, it's the whole institution.
Exactly.
It started, from the bottom up and sort of developed into this thing now where it's, kids are just numbers. Students are just numbers.
Yeah.
That need to get through a certain, phase gate and to be done.
Yeah.
And you can take the same thing and you can apply it to the customer service industry and how people that work in that industry in general just don't care anymore.
No. Exactly.
And some of it is, if they're forced to care, they'll just go find a job somewhere else because there's such a lack of worker right now in America and in so many jobs. So, there's some element of that too, but there's also some element of just like a lack of respect and a lack, we've lost humanity in the whole like interaction with each other.
Yeah.
Because if we just respected one another, like, if I worked at Target, I would want to make Target somewhere I wanted to go.
Correct.
But so many people that are working in retail don't have that mentality. So they're not treating their job as if they're on the other side of it.
Mm-hmm.
They're just doing the bare minimum just to get by.
Yeah. An example that comes to me, if I go to the store with my mother, is a product is on the ground, out of place, or something, she'll pick it up and she'll put it back on the shelf. And I used to always tell my mom, like, Mom, you don't work here, like, just let it be.
Yeah.
She was like, well, it costs me nothing to pick it up.
Right.
I'm saving somebody's job, It costs me nothing to pick it up. Like, why should somebody who works here have to be the one who picks it up? How come I can't just do it? And I find myself to this day. It happened to me one time. I went to HEB. There was something on the ground. I was just like, I'm not going to pick it up.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody who works here would pick it up. That's their job.
Mm-hmm.
So I passed by it, but it kept eating at me. So what did I do?
Go back and got it.
I turned back around. I went back and I picked it up and I put it back on the shelf.
Right.
And that's part of caring for humanity as a whole. I shouldn't have to leave it for a worker to do, because at some point, somebody who disregarded that worker just left it on the floor.
Right.
Why should I have the same type of mentality or the same mindset as a person who left it on the floor? How come I can't value the worker for who they are? And instead of making them doing an extra step or go out of their way, it costs me nothing. I'm passing right by it. Just pick it up, put it on the shelf.
Right.
And so sometimes, if you look at things like that in that perspective.
And if we all did that, the world might be a little bit kinder.
Exactly.
And a little bit softer.
Yeah. Have a little bit more empathy for the next person, especially when it really doesn't cost you anything.
Right.
And
I think it's easy to get in this mentality of, I'm not buying an onion, so why should I pick up the onion off the floor?
Exactly.
Well, someday you might be buying an onion and there might not be any left because they've all fallen on the, it's a weird example, but everything does come back around in some way or another at some point.
Yeah.
And I think that's a lot of why things are so screwed up, there's so much more road rage and, people are so much more willing to fight each other and cause a scene because we forget that we're all human.
Yeah.
And that we're all just trying to get through this thing.
And I think that if we take a moment to step back and to just realize that we're all in this fight called life.
Yep.
We're all trying to do better for ourselves. But what if we change it from doing better for ourselves, but to do better for myself and for my neighbor next to me?
Yeah.
We live in a selfish world.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much people are looking after themselves or their small group, but nobody is looking at the bigger picture.
It's hard.
It's
hard to find. Even, in my personal life, being part of the HOA and trying to, keep the neighborhood together. It's hard.
It is.
So many people just don't care, or they only want for the neighborhood what they want. They can't see the whole thing.
Mm-mm.
We can't put a big old pool and a clubhouse in because y'all don't want to pay 5 times as much as we're paying. So you can't complain about both sides of the equation. They just want what they want.
Yeah.
If someone else was going to pay for it, you can damn sure bet they'd be all right with it.
Exactly.
So it's
the I factor.
Yeah. There's too much of that in today's world.
Yeah.
And there's, because of that, we've lost the human aspect. We've lost, track of the humanity part of the equation.
Yeah. Because everybody's looking after I.
Yeah.
And it's, there are still, there's more of the population that's looking after I and less of the population that's looking after, we. Yeah, we have the I society.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
I want this. I want that.
Right. I don't know how we're gonna fix this, but it's definitely something that definitely something that I think about a lot.
It can be fixed slowly, but it's going to take time.
Yeah.
The same way we got to this point, we can
You're
reverse
right.
it to get back to where people actually cared about one another.
That's right.
Like the school system. We need people in there who just don't look at, okay, well, let's take, a major school district, and let's just not want to say we need to pass 70% of the students. Let's go in there and be like, you know what? I want to pass 100%. We know 100% is not going to pass, but if we go in trying to get every single last one of the students the past and actually show them that we care, their attitudes towards us will change. Well, not towards us, but the attitude towards the teachers will change, and they'll actually want to do better for themselves in order to change, to have a better outcome.
Yeah. I think that's the idea behind some of the charter schools and the academies, the magnet schools. It's changing the philosophy a little bit so that there's more individualized care and specificity in what you're learning and that kind of stuff. But I do think there's a baseline problem with respect too, that kids just don't respect teachers and the institution anymore, and probably because their parents don't, and and
it all starts at home. Alicia and I still teach our kids to respect their teachers and respect authority. Right. And if you have kids at home cussing out the parents, right, they're not going to respect anybody in authority until one day they're arrested and they're before a judge, and they're going to force them to be respected.
Hopefully.
So, and even at that, they still go in there with that, like they have a chip on their shoulder, like the world owes them everything. Right. No, you gotta work for it. Right. Reminds me of my mother, like, she would, make a cake or do something, or, and she's always willing to share with her neighbors. And share with other people. If we have more people that are willing to just share of their time, like, if there's a homeless person, not a homeless, an elderly person in your neighborhood, just taking 5 minutes out of your day, walking by and just saying hi to them means the world to them. Because many of the times they live by themselves, they're alone, don't really have any visitors. We can change humanity by doing small, kind acts ourselves. And
I'd like to think so.
I would challenge our viewers and our listeners to do it. Yeah. Like, this week, go out, do something out of the ordinary for somebody else, and then send us an email. 1, let us know how it made you feel. 2, when you had the interaction with that person, how did it make them feel? And then let us know how it made you feel before you did it, how it made the person feel that you helped, and then let us know how it made you feel in the end. Yeah. And I guarantee you, taking time to do something that doesn't benefit yourself, but can benefit somebody else, will make you feel a better person on the inside.
Anything coming up for you?
Not really. I don't have anything on my radar. Don't have anything on my calendar right now. I'm pretty sure that'll change at any moment, at any time now. What about you?
Well, we are recording these in kind of a funny order because of that vacation I have coming up here. So today actually is the XFL Championship. And this episode should play before we talk about the XFL Championship. No, we're probably going to talk about it. Anyways, so things are going to be a little bit out of order, but this is the actual day of the XFL Championship. So we're getting ready to head there after we get another recording done. And check that out. And then on next week's recording, which will actually be 2 weeks ago from this episode, we'll be talking about what went on this weekend. That was a long way of saying we're recording things out of order. It's a little bit funny, but we have the XFL thing coming up soon, and it's on my mind, so I'm talking about it.
Yeah, so we're like recording in the future.
Yeah, this is episode 39. Episode 37 will be the episode right after the XFL Championship.
Yeah. So, yeah, if you can figure all that out, just enjoy it and then go from there.
That's right.
Alrighty, that's a wrap for today's episodes, ladies and gentlemen, and until next week.
Follow us on all the social medias. That's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and TikTok at Life with Dan and Lewis.
That's at Life with Dan and Lewis on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and TikTok.
Video episodes are now available on YouTube along with all our previous audio-only episodes. Also on YouTube or wherever podcasts are available. Check us out. We hope to see you there. We'll be back next week with another episode. Until then, check out our new limited series, The Spotlight. New episodes will be coming in between weekly episodes of Life with Dan and Lewis throughout this season. Thanks for listening today. More episodes can be found anywhere podcasts are found, or on our YouTube page, or on our website at lwdl.buzzsprout.com.
That's lwdl.buzzsprout.com.
Until next time, ask yourself, what have you done today to help someone else? Make good choices.
And love one another.